If you haven't marketed it at all, it still needs to be entered within 2 days, or else it's a violation of mandatory submission. Okay, so and that's business days, remember. So mandatory submission, a new listing can be submitted as exclude from the MLS or an office exclusive, coming soon, or active. Okay, what is a business day? Basically, a business day is any day except weekend or holidays. Some people say, well, banks count Saturdays as a business day. Well, that's not the way we count business days. It's weekends and holidays, federal and state holidays are excluded in a business day. That's what a business day is. Public as defined by CRISNet MLS rules, or basically all the MLSs define public as, would include anyone outside the broker and agent's license under a single brokerage and their clients. That's the public. So, so a client within your own brokerage is not, marketing to a client within your own brokerage is not public marketing. But once you market outside of the brokerage, like if you marketed on KW Shares Forward Living, which has other agents on it outside of the brokerage, and it has many other brokerages besides KW, whatever office you're with, then that is public marketing.
So Rich, I know a lot of people get confused about that because you are the office broker for, several offices, but that is the rule. And it's just within their own market center, right?
Correct. And that is, the brokerage is defined, yes, by the broker of record, but it's also defined by the corporation of that brokerage and the DRE number. Now, all of my offices have separate corporations and they have separate DRE numbers. So promoting amongst the different offices would be public marketing because they are different corporations and different DREs. So, and public marketing is defined as signs in the window or the yard, public facing websites, posting information on social media, showing the property on a brokerage or franchise operated website, emails, texts, network groups, flyers, postcards, apps, and conducting an open house when you can conduct an open house, but you can't right now. So that is all public marketing. And so the bottom line is contacting anyone outside the listing office, advertising in any way, marketing in any manner, and it's whatever. If it goes out to somebody outside of your brokerage, then it's public marketing. Okay, here is an MLS. It's a status, active under contract. An active under contract is that an offer has been accepted. The seller requests that the property remain in an on-market status, is willing to show the property per 9.3, and is actively looking for and accepting backup offers, or the sale is subject to a court or third-party approval. If the seller is not requesting backup offers and the property is not available for showing per 9.3, remember all or nothing, then the property should be put in pending. You cannot leave a property in active under contract as a way to continue to market the property if the seller isn't looking for a backup offer. So that's really important. Mandatory reporting, it must be entered into active under contract within 2 business days of a contract acceptance date. The property is visible in the MLS, and showing the property, you can show the property while it's in active under contract. Public marketing is allowed while it's in active under contract. That's the signs, the websites, the social media, all that is allowed during active under contract. Open houses when they're available, brokers tours, can go on websites. Days on market do calculate while it's in active under contract because it's an on market status. You can sell the property while it's in active under contract. Obviously, there is an accepted offer, but you can always take a backup offer while it's in, because that's the whole purpose of it. So, and then when the seller is no longer willing to make the property available for showings, and is not willing to accept backup offers, the property must be changed to pending. I can't tell you how many calls I get that something's left in active under contract and they contacted the agent and the agent says, oh, we're not showing it. Well, that's the purpose of active under contract. If you're not showing it, then it needs to move to pending. Hold status. Now, hold status is a valid listing contract is in effect. However, because of various reasons such as repairs, illnesses, guests, the seller has requested temporarily that there be no more showings. The property is not available for showings, consistent with MLS Rule 9.3. That means it can't be shown to anyone. You know, just because you're the listing agent and somebody calls you and it's on hold and they say, oh, you know, this is exactly what my client is looking for. Can you show it to me? No, you can't. You have to take it off of hold. So it can't be showed while it's in hold. The listing must be entered into hold status within 2 business days of the seller's authorization to place the property on hold. What's the seller's authorization? An email is good enough, something in writing. So an email is good enough from the seller saying, please put the property in hold for X number of days or until I do these repairs or whatever. While it's in hold, the property is visible in the MLS. Obviously, as I've said, no showing of the property while it's in hold. Public marketing is allowed. You can still promote the property as for sale, you just can't show it. Obviously, you can't have an open house or caravan or any networking group. Days on market do not calculate while it's in hold. Time limit or restrictions. ChrisNet MLS, CRMLS, and Flex MLS, all the property can be put on hold for 30 days at a time and then be extended. And there is no limit to the time period that it can be placed on hold. The MLS, you can only put the property on hold for 10 days at a time, and it can only be placed on hold twice. That means a total of 20 days. That's all you get with the MLS. Selling the property while it's on hold. Sure, it can sell while it's in hold status. It could be sold to somebody who saw it prior to it being placed on hold, or it can be sold subject to inspection. So it can be sold while it's in hold. Exclude, yeah, go ahead.
Before you move on to this one, going back to the active under contract and pending, what's the time frame there that the agent would have to switch it from active under contract to pending?
There's no limit as to the amount of time it can be put in active under contract. The key part is that the buyer has to be, the seller has to be willing to be accepting backup offers. So if you're in a deal and you're in active under contract and the buyer has removed all contingencies and they're ready to go, then theoretically there's no reason for you to be looking for backup offers because they're ready to close. But you know, there is no time limit for that. So
Okay. And
okay.
then a couple more. Well, this is a general question. Are we allowed to do brokers open? I guess he means in current time.
No, you are not. Oh, by appointment, you can. You can say, showing this new listing between this time and this time, set up your appointment. You could do it that way, but just having a broker's open, no. You can't have any directional signs at this time. You can't be directing people to a property, whether it's
Okay.
other agents or public.
Okay. And then can you review again, like what exactly is hold when it's on hold?
It's on hold. The seller is requested to be put on hold. You know, if there's an illness, like a lot of people put properties on hold during the holidays, or they need to do a repair. Those are reasons why a property should be put on hold. It stops the clock, but you also can't show it.
Okay.
Okay. Is that it?
Great. Yeah,
Okay.
that's it for now.
Okay. Exclude from the MLS or an office exclusion or office exclusive. Excluding from the MLS for ChrisNet members only. Within 2 business days of the listing start date, you must register the listing with the MLS. You have to have an exclusion from the MLS form signed by the seller and the broker. That would be me. And you must submit a copy of the first and the last page of the listing agreement to ChrisNet MLS. And you should email that to mls@srar.com. So that's within 2 business days. That has to be to exclude it from ChrisNet. You can exclude it using the CAR SCLM, the seller exclude listing from the MLS form, and you need to check number 9, which is MLS clear cooperation. That states that your MLS has a clear cooperation policy. So you need to check that. Now, ChrisNet also has their own exclusion form if you want to use it. That was updated in April. And it has an important paragraph, just like the CAR, the zip form does. It instructs the seller that no marketing or advertising of the property outside of the listing brokerage will be done. That's important. They need to know that you're not going to be able to market this property outside of your own brokerage. So, and this form is available on SRAR's website. So this is SRAR's or ChrisNet's exclusion form. And to exclude a listing from the MLS or CLAW, within 2 business days, you must register the listing by sending, once again, the exclusion form and the first and the last page of the listing agreement to compliance@themls.com. That's how you exclude it with the MLS. They also have their own form, which is available on the MLS website on excluding it, or you can use the CAR form. Either form is acceptable. Excluding from the MLS on Flex MLS, which is Conejo, they use Flex, and there are other associations that use Flex. Once again, the exclusion form and the first and the last page of the listing, and that should be sent to mls@csmaor.com. So that stands for Conejo Simi Valley Moore Park Association of Realtors. That needs to be sent. That's for Flex MLS. And CR MLS, within 2 business days of the listing start date, you must register it on CRMLS. Now, you will still need the exclusion form, but they do not require you to send any paperwork in. CRMLS requires you to register the listing in CRMLS, and no paperwork needs to be submitted. Now, I will cover how you register a listing, so you don't have to ask me about that, but there's no paperwork that's needed to be sent to the MLS, but you need the paperwork to be filled out. It's important to note when you're excluding a listing from the MLS that all of them require an exclude from the MLS form, either the SCLM form or the individual MLS exclusion forms. And for those MLSs that you send it to, you also need to make sure that the office has a copy of this listing and the MLS exclusion. So it's important that within 2 business days per DRE regulations that the office has the paperwork also. So that's really important to know. Okay.
Oh, we have a few questions building up. Do you
Sure.
want me to stop? Okay.
Sure, go ahead. Sure.
Okay, so, well, one about what you're just talking about, then we'll go back a little bit. So if you want to do an off-market listing, do you need to complete the appropriate form, not the MLS form you typically do, that you typically use?
Well, an off-market listing, there's no such thing as an off-market listing anymore. That's what clear cooperation is about. You're either putting it in the MLS or you're making it an office exclusive and you're just marketing to your brokerage. There is no such thing as an off-market listing.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, and then going back a little bit to are there NAR or CAR guidelines on some of the restrictions because of COVID? I think you had started to explain about how there are no brokers opens right now. Are there other restrictions somewhere that are maybe a cheat sheet about that?
Well, when you have a new listing or even attached to the PED are the guidelines for showing properties, who needs to clean the property. Those are all attached to the PED. So those are the guidelines that are established by Cal OSHA. So you should take a look at those.
Okay. And then one more. Does the hold period, we're going back to the hold topic again.
Sure.
Does it extend the listing contract by the number of days it was put on hold? I think you said it stops the clock there, right?
It stops the clock, but the listing expiration is the same.
Okay.
So, yeah.
If it's a broker exclusive, can you post it on social media?
No.
Yeah.
Because what is that? That's public marketing.
That's everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I think I'm caught up.
Okay. So speaking of that, exclude from the MLS, public marketing. Public marketing is not allowed. So you can't have a sign. You can't put it on websites. You can't post it on social media. You can't show it on brokerage websites. No emails, no texts, no marketing groups, no flyers, no nothing. You can't market it. You can't publicly market this property. Marketing within the listing brokerage office. It may be marketed to agents within the listing broker's office only. Agents of the listing broker's office may communicate that the listing they may communicate the listing to their clients as defined in MLS rules, and may show and sell the property to those clients. So what is a client? It's a specific definition. So this is the definition for ChrisNet, the MLS, and Flex MLS. So within the last 12 months, there has to have been a signed agency disclosure with the broker or agent, or a signed broker agency agreement with the broker or agent, has a listing agreement with the broker and agent, signed an offer to purchase with the broker or agent, has signed a lease to purchase, a lease represented by the broker or agent, has had more than a casual relationship that can be demonstrated by written documentation showing the broker and agent has engaged in substantial real estate activity for such party. So putting somebody on a drip system, somebody that in the olden days you would have met at a open house, saying, oh, I'll put you on this email blast, does not constitute substantial activity. So those people will not be considered clients. So this is what a client is per ChrisNet MLS, the MLS, and Flex MLS. For CRMLS, it's anyone who within the last 12 months has signed an agency disclosure form. That's it. But it also extends that it has to be something more than substantial. So if you put somebody on a drip system, once again, that doesn't count. Okay, so when it's excluded, it's not visible in the MLS. Showing to clients is allowed. Showing to agents outside the listing brokerage is not allowed. You can put a lockbox on the property that is excluded, but you need to make sure that there's a CBS code on that, so that you control who has access to that property. Because if somebody goes in there who is not a part of your brokerage, then you've immediately publicly marketed that property. So obviously no open houses, no tours or caravans. If your own office has a group that goes, you wouldn't have this now because of COVID, but in olden days, you know, if your own office had an office caravan, then those people could go to see it, but nobody outside your brokerage. Can't go on third-party websites. And when I say third-party website, I'm talking about like Zillow and all that. And you can't publish the property on internet site. Days on market do not calculate while in exclude. There is no time limit for the entire period of the listing. It can be excluded. And obviously you can sell the property while it's in excluded to a client. So once again, marketing outside the listing brokerage is prohibited. If it is marketed outside the listing brokerage within 1 business day, that property needs to be put either in as a coming soon or an active. So not entering it into the MLS within that 1 business day is a violation of clear cooperation. And I went over those fines previously. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Any questions?
Yeah, there are.
Okay. All right.
So, well, this is another general question. Is this the same as a pocket listing? I think they're referring to the coming soon.
No, I think they're referring to exclude, and it kind of can be considered a pocket listing, but remember, once again, it has to be excluded from the MLS. You need that form, and it can only be marketed within your own brokerage, your own office. So, I don't mean all of Keller Williams. I mean your individual office. If you're in Calabasas, only Calabasas. Coastal, only Coastal. West Side, only West Side. South Bay, only South Bay. So that's important to note. Anything else?
Yeah. If a listing is excluded from the MLS, do we still need to register it on our MLS?
Yes, you do with, and I'm just getting to register. I'm gonna hold that because I'm just getting to that. So
Okay.
it'll be answered in the next 3 minutes.
Okay. And then also, if what about if a property is sold? Can you still show it then?
If it's sold,
Yeah.
who are you going to show
I
it
don't
to?
know. It might happen.
If it's sold, I mean, the new owners, I don't think want you showing their new property. I don't think you can do that.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
Okay. And then, back to the pocket listing.
Yes.
Oh, I'm not sure, Carmen, what you meant about the exclusive.
Maybe she'll clarify it.
Okay, maybe she'll clarify.
Yeah.
So, and then I know, back to about this, it being sold, can you still feature it on your social media?
As a sold property, yes, you could. Yeah.
Okay.
If it was excluded and you sold and it's sold and it closed, you can promote it on your social media as a property. I think that's where they were going. So
Yeah.
So yes, you can. You
Okay.
know, it's only while the listing is active, or there's an active contract. But once it's sold, that listing agreement is done. So you can promote it as sold. Yes.
Okay, perfect. And then the other question I was struggling with, you answered it, so we're good on
Okay. Okay, good. So here is the new registered system for excluded listings. And this applies to ChrisNet and to CRMLS. And for CRMLS, it is required that if it is an excluded listing, that it must be registered. That's a requirement. ChrisNet, it's suggested that you do it, but it's not a requirement, because ChrisNet requires, remember, the paperwork to be sent. I would, if I were you, put it in as registered with ChrisNet, but it's not a requirement. Okay, so the process of registered, which once again, it's for CRMLS and ChrisNet, is to enter the excluded listing into the registered system. It only requires limited information: the address, the list date, expiration date, list price, marketing start date. And what is marketing start date? It's the date that it's going to be going active, if it is at all. Okay, so and with ChrisNet, you have to send the first and the last page of the agreement and the exclusion. With CRMLS, you don't have to do that. So your excluded listings will show in your MLS listings to only the listing agent and the broker. That's the only people who see this this listing. Once again, here is how you would register it in the MLS. It's just the same as if you were adding a new listing, except there is a different tab. It says register listing contract. And so you click on that. And once again, it says CRMLS requires you to register the excluded listing. ChrisNet, it is optional. So once you click on that, you complete the limited amount of information that you need, which is the address, which I just went over. And then also remember to map it. Always remember to map exactly where your listing is. And once again, registered listings will only be visible to the listing agent and the broker. So just so you know. Okay, so now coming soon. Coming soon is a new status for a lot of us. So coming soon, there is a valid listing contract exists. No offer, with or without contingencies, have been accepted, and the property is available for showing consistent to MLS Rule 9.3 for ChrisNet members only. See at the top, this is for ChrisNet. You can show coming soon listings. The listing must be entered in the MLS within 2 business days of the listing start date if no public marketing has taken place, or within 1 business day of the listing start date if public marketing has already occurred. And there is a minimum requirement of 1 exterior photo. Okay, properties are visible in the MLS and can be shared with their clients. There is a time limit for coming soon. It can only be in coming soon for 21 days, and it will automatically change to active on either the start showing date, and I'll show you that in a little bit, or after that 21 days. And once the property is out of coming soon, it cannot go back in. So just remember that. So for ChrisNet, CRMLS, FlexMLS, and the MLS, public marketing is allowed while it's in coming soon. That's signs. You can post it on social media, on brokerage websites, digital communications, promoting to networking groups, flyers, and all that. That is allowed. But marketing on websites while it's in coming soon, the listing will not be sent to third-party websites. Agent and brokerage websites, while in coming soon, the property can manually be entered into the agent's or the brokerage website. While in coming soon, the property cannot, and I repeat, cannot be entered or show in any website other than the broker or the agent's website. So I'm talking about Zillow's, I'm talking about Trulia, Realtor.com. It cannot show up there because that is public marketing. I mean, well, public marketing is allowed, but third-party websites are not allowed on any MLS while it's in coming soon. So once again, if it is shown on any of those websites, then the property needs to be placed into an active status, or else you're subject to fine. Okay, so showing while in coming soon, once again, ChrisNet, yes, you can show. And once again, it's all or nothing. So if you're going to show it while it's in coming soon for ChrisNet users, then you have to show it to everybody. You can't just limit it to your own individual office or clients. Or you can place it in coming soon with instructions that it won't be shown until such a date. A lockbox can be placed on the property. I always suggest that you use a CBS code, call before showing, especially in these times, because you need to have control over who enters the property. Open houses, when they're allowed, will be, for ChrisNet, you can have an open house. For all other MLSs, you cannot. Days on market do not calculate while in coming soon. It's important to know. The property can be sold while in coming soon. it can be sold on any MLS. Obviously, on ChrisNet, it could have been shown, but you can sell it in the other MLSs subject to inspection. So ChrisNet MLS's listings will be shown, can be shown once again while in coming soon, and in other MLSs you cannot show. Okay, can I go from exclude to coming soon? Yes. Coming soon to active? Yes. Coming soon to hold? Yes. Coming soon to pending? Yes. Coming soon to active under contract? Yes. But active to coming soon? Nope. Hold to coming soon? No. Active under contract to coming soon? No. Once it's out of coming soon, it cannot be, it cannot go back. Okay, so for ChrisNet or CRMLS users, when you're adding coming soon, I'm showing this because there's a little glitch for the ChrisNet users. So when you're adding a coming soon, you add it just like you're adding any other listing. And right down there, there's a place that says start showing date. And for ChrisNet users, some people were taking coming soon listings, and for like the first few days, they still had some stuff to do to the property. So they weren't really showing it because they can show it for ChrisNet for a few days. So they were putting the start showing date, let's say 3 days in the future. Well, what happened is that the minute that that date came about, that listing went to active. So if you enter anything into the start showing date for ChrisNet MLS users, that's the date it will go active. So either don't put anything in there or count 21 days in the future and put that date in. You can always change it, but it's important to note that. Okay, so coming soon authorization forms. The MLS and CRMLS have a coming soon authorization form that needs to be sent to the MLS. So once again, the MLS and CRMLS have their own forms. Get them on their websites. Flex MLS requires an SCLM in order for a listing to be placed in coming soon status. Why an SCLM, it kind of doesn't make sense to me, but that's what their requirement is. Oop. Okay, this is the end, guys. That's everything. So do I have any questions?
Not at the moment.
Okay, well now is the moment. So that's the whole kit and caboodle on clear cooperation and MLS rules. So if nobody has any other questions, you all understand it and you're not going to violate it. I hope not. So if nothing else came up, Max, then I'm going to say goodbye and thank everybody for joining me.
Thank you so much, Rich. And on your behalf, I would like to thank everyone. And yeah, that will be all the questions answered. And I actually just had a question pop up.
Okay.
What is SELM? SELM.
It's a CAR form. It's a zip forms. Seller exclude listing from MLS. The seller exclusion from the MLS, basically. So that's SELM. Okay.
Thank you. One more question. One of our agents is asking if they have a property that is excluded from the MLS, do they need to excluded from the LS? I'm sorry. Do they need to register it with the broker and the MLS?
Well, if they're a member of CRMLS, yes. If they are a member of ChrisNet, it's optional. And then the other MLSs, the Flex MLS and the MLS, don't require registering, but they do require the paperwork. So as does the office. I do want to stress that per GRE rules, the office needs any executed agreement to be in the office within 2 days. So so the office will need the paperwork, and for all the MLSs except CRMLS, they also need the paperwork. So hope that clears that up.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much, Rich. I believe this will be the end of our question. Again, thank
Okay.
you everyone who attended, and looking forward for your next session. And thank you again.
All right. We'll see you. Have a good day.